Once he's awake, I'll send confirmation of the strike.
Yeah. Because you know what happens if you don't, right? Who else? I'm nothing but a monster.
What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television, and today we're going to be getting into Secret Invasion Episode 5 entitled Harvest. But before we do, please, if you earn that subscription today, you hit that red subscribe bar down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that beautiful YouTube stuff. Because only together can we go straight to the moon, baby! That's right. Let's help each other get to 300 subscribers as our next goal. And the only way to do that is if you're watching this and you've yet to subscribe, hit it down below. But without further ado, let's get into Episode 5 of Secret Invasion, entitled Harvest, starring Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, Emilia Clarke as Gaia, Don Cheadle as Scrody. I'm going to call him Scrody, alright? Kingsley Ben Adir as Gravik, Samuel Adewamni, I'm going to spell the last name, I'm sorry I butchered that, sir, Adewunmi as the character Beto. He was that Skrull that we met in episode 1 that has been trying to stay with his people, but he's had a bigger part in this episode for sure. Olivia Colman as Sonia Fallsworth, one of my favorite characters in this series, and Charlene Woodward as Priscilla, Nick's wife, also another great character. In this episode, we see Nick, and we see the aftermath of what happened last episode, where Nick is escorting the president into a hospital. He whispers in the president's ear about Rhodey being a Skrull, and the doctors go in and try to save the president. In the meantime, we see Scrody come, with a bunch of Secret Service, and he basically alerted Nick Fury that he released the footage of Gravik as Nick Fury offing Maria Hill. So in the meantime, Nick Fury has to go on the run because he's going to be one of the most wanted men on the planet, basically, at the moment. We also see Nick Fury have an interaction with Gaia, and I want to say Finland, but that was later on in the episode. We see Gaia and Nick Fury conversing, where we see Nick Fury all those years ago promising the Skrulls that day he met Gravik to help find them a home, but also they got to help him here on Earth. They're in that same underground apartment, basically. Not that's underground, but apartment off the grid. And Gaia explained that she failed to know what the significance of that apartment was, because during World War II, it was used to house illegal immigrants coming through Europe, trying to escape the mayhem and chaos of that particular war, because some people were being hunted down and exterminated, you know what I mean? So there was other people that were willing to help those on the run and hide them, much like the Underground Railroad during the slavery times and stuff like that. People who truly felt that that was wrong would house those on the run trying to live a free life. And because Guy understands about being an immigrant, so to speak, her and her people. Nick says to her, because she really gets on Nick about Talos dying and what was even the point? He died for nothing. And Nick was like, when you choose to struggle, it's not for nothing. You're trying to do the right thing. And now it's your turn. What are you going to do? And he tried to rally her the way he rallied the Avengers through so many different movies and scenes. He then meets up with Fallsworth. But I also want to say that talk about how Guy and Priscilla met. Priscilla was thinking that Gravik sent her, but it was really Nick who sent her, because Guy wanted to bury Talos the Skrull way, right, with the proper ceremony, because they ended up getting his body. So Priscilla and Gaia talk a little bit about the debate of whether to help and stay on Earth and acclimate, or Gaia still seems to know that what she wants is to be able to be in her own skin, but she's not. It seems like she's not fully understanding that in life there's compromise. And Priscilla, because the conversation about Priscilla being in his skin or not came up during her marriage with Nick Fury, and Priscilla says that's not your business. And what you're failing to realize is that, you know, relationships and love is about compromise, and it can't always be one way. Basically telling her in a way, in a general sense, if you want people to accept you and have them share their home with you, then it's probably going to be best if for the majority of the time you walk around looking like one of the humans and not as yourself. Because it's already difficult for some humans to get proper attention throughout the world in different areas of the world for different reasons. Forget about if you're not human, you're definitely going to be on the back of any list. And I guess that brings up about finding a new home and whether you should take over the planet or not. And the answer lies somewhere in between totally being complacent and totally being dominant. There's somewhere in there that is a proper compromise. Jordan, our friend of the channel, said, why don't they just move him to Chernobyl or whatever? But I think it's still about a lot of these Skrulls want to be walking around like Skrulls and not like people or whatever being is on the planet that they happen to land on. I'm sure there's a planet somewhere. Also, we see Fallsworth finding another Skrull and finding out where the two doctors were at that built the Super Skrull machine, and trying to get the blueprints and all the information on that. She found the two scientists, and she happens to off one of them. keeping the one that was more willing to talk to them. And so that's a good start, like, hey, all right, you caught us, right? We're just trying to find a home, man. And basically, she takes all the information she finds and probably like brings it back to her government, her people, because she's the head of basically the secret agency of SAS, I believe it's called, over in England. It's like the equivalent of the FBI or CIA or something like that. It's their version of Central Intelligence, so to speak. And then we also have an eventual meeting between Fallsworth and Firy. Firy explains to her fully what had happened. And what had happened was, during the Battle of Earth, around the Earth, the various heroes. I know how to talk, you don't know how to talk. The various heroes of the planet that was fighting against Thanos and his forces, a lot of them had bled. And what Nick Fury wanted to do was to send in his collectors, which was led by Gravik, and every blood sample around the world that was from superheroes, whether it be Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, this person, that person, Carol Danvers, he collected and stored together, calling it the Harvest. Now, that's what Gravik is after, really. The combined DNA, or the DNA of the Avengers that collected. The reason why Gravik knows it's theirs because he helped collect these samples. He just doesn't know where Fury has hidden them. Also, Gravik is starting to lose it because one of his people started confronting him about thinking he didn't know what Gravik was really doing or going after. And eventually it angered Gravik so much that he offed one of his own people, one of his own operatives. And Beto is realizing, along with others, that they don't want to be collateral damage in this war that he's starting, that he's looking, that he doesn't care who dies, Skrull or human, as long as he gets his way, and whoever's surviving after that, they will repopulate their people. And Beto and other people are realizing that he has gone too far now, and they try to attack him at their secret base in Russia, because Rhodey is trying to have the president, who's now recovering, launch a nuclear attack on Russia, where the Skrull base is at, knowing full well that's what Gravik had told them to do. And so when the other Skrulls are realizing they're going to be collateral damage, because Gravik can heal himself, right? And just hope that, these other Skrulls can meet up and repopulate the species, they attack him, try to do a coup. But Gravik beats the hell out of the traitors, right, to him, and basically reasserts his domination, and he's raring to go, right? So that's kind of where we are at with this episode. Again, the acting in this is really phenomenal. There was a nice action scene with Guy and Priscilla against other Skrulls, or whoever came to attack them. We got to remember that Priscilla has shield training as well. And both the ladies took on like 12 people or something like that. So we got a little bit of action, not as long as I'd like to have, but again, my only complaint for this show, which is bringing it down, is that it's not on a grander scale like the comic books. And it's a shame. I get that there's a budget and this and that, but to me, it's such a small scale show compared to what the comic books had. I'm a little disappointed in that. but the acting itself has been phenomenal by pretty much every character in here. Sam Jackson's really bringing it with his acting in this. And Kingsley Benadir has been great as Gravik, I really will say. And I love, who is it, Olivia Colman that plays it? Yeah, Olivia Colman. She's doing great too, man. And everyone else is doing great, but those are my 3 favorite characters of the show. Fallsworth, Firy, and Gravik. Yeah, the smaller scale and not the larger scale on Who Do You Trust could have been a lot more interesting, but it is what it is. This is what we're getting, and that's just my opinions on it. I'd like to know if you think there's any, well, obviously there's more Skrulls out there, but do you think that there'll be any more Skrull reveals down the road? Do you think that Rhodes is going to turn on Gravik? Do you think that Gravik is going to be excommunicated by all of his people? We'll find out. Basically, the big showdown is going to be next week between Gravik and Firy. Basically, Gravik don't have his people anymore, and Firy don't have his people anymore. So it's going to be mano y mano, because now Firy has the harvest, and he's going to go meet Gravik in his old Nick Fury eye patch and leather trench. Our Nick Fury's back, baby. At least we got our funny man back, right? Yeah, so we'll see what the big showdown is next week, guys. Yeah, overall, the acting has really been top-notch. Action, not so much. It's not very action-heavy. And has been above average spy thriller, but still doesn't feel like it's at its full potential with that either. Just my opinions, but let me know what you think down below in the comments. And until next time, peace, Snookums.